Thank you, Steve. You may begin.
Very good. Good morning, everyone. Let's call this meeting to order. First order of business would be the minutes from the previous meeting, which is March 2nd. I spoke before the meeting started last time, and that really didn't seem to be part of the minutes. So I would add this for the minutes of March 2nd.
Steve, one question. You spoke before the meeting started, or was
No, I spoke as we started. So
okay.
It should be part of the minutes. In relationship to 25 South Street, and as a general statement, setting the stage for other submissions like today. Historical significance, I'm going to read it like a motion, even though it was not a motion. 1, historical significance is established by the ABR only, with input from multiple sources, including perspectives. We set the bar on what historical significance is for the submission. 2, each dwelling or submission is an entity unto itself. No two are alike and should be treated as such. They use that material down the street is not an equalizer. 3, structures are different and unique. Their location is always different. The structure around them are always different. Unique is not an opinion, it's a fact. 4, a combination of owner requests, structural necessity, location, and all manner of specific unique factors enter into every decision. That's my addition to those minutes.
Steve, can you email that to me at joan@chagrin-falls.org?
Yeah, I meant to do that. I was out of town and I had only my phone, so I will do that, Joe.
Okay, so you guys can hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Christy.
Any other additions to the minutes? I move to approve the minutes
Second.
with that addition.
Motion by King, seconded by Naylor. Childs,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Naylor.
Yes.
Okay, minutes are approved as amended, I guess.
All righty. First order of business is 31 South Franklin. A sign. Here we go.
I think
Looks like a sign.
sign is acceptable. I have no opinion about it.
Christy, is anybody on from the company?
Yes, I promoted Tim. Tim?
Tim, you're
I
muted.
promoted you to join the conversation. If you could unmute and start your camera, please.
All right, here we go. Sorry,
There you go.
Good morning.
still getting used to it.
Tim, just state the name of your company.
Fast Signs of Lyndhurst,
Okay.
and this is just a aluminum sign with vinyl and laminate coating. The bracketed steel with powder coated.
Yep.
Those are the colors.
Those are the colors of the company. Yep, correct. It's kind of a purple and a teal for the check, and then white kind of grayish background, and the bracket itself is black.
Looks like
matte
it's
black.
8 feet above the sidewalk, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I think we should just move to approve this.
I think we should. I so move.
Second.
Second.
Okay, motion by King, second by Naylor. Naylor,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Childs.
Yes.
Okay, it's approved. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank
Thanks.
you. 32 Walnut Street. Aluminum picket fence. and a board on board.
Michelle, I'm moving you into the conversation. When you're ready, you can unmute and start your camera.
I'm looking for how to start my camera.
Should say something about video.
Your lower left-hand corner has a mute and a
Oh.
start video. Are you on a computer or an iPad?
I'm on a computer.
Okay, the lower left-hand corner should have a mute and a start video button.
I'm pressing it.
That's okay, as long as we can hear you, I think it's fine. So
Okay, sorry.
I think it'll be okay, no worries.
I need a 9-year-old to come in here and help me.
Don't we all?
Are you the homeowner?
I am.
Just sort of explain what your project is.
Oh, okay, sorry. I want to fence the front yard primarily because I have dogs and I'd like to be able to use it from time to time for the dogs. In addition, the fence that is between me and my neighbor on Walnut, that fence is falling down and in bad disrepair. It doesn't connect anything. It doesn't serve any purpose. So I wanted to remove that. And then I had gone to the Historical Society, and the gentleman there, John, was super helpful at showing me the history of the house as well as how the house had been used in the past. And we came across these pictures of the fact that there was a fence inside the hedge going back many, many years. These pictures were actually from a time when John was actually, I don't know if you'd call him a student, but they ran a play school out of the home at some point in the early 1900s or 30s or 40s or whatever. And he actually went there. I think some of the pictures have his sister in them. So anyway, it was just sort of like showing you that there used to be a fence there. There are still white picket gates, I think, that are original still there. Yeah, that's the one that I want to tear down that's falling down.
I think that
Yeah.
picture is John's wife, Mary, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How fun is that? So at any rate, that's what I would like to do. Remove the 2 white old picket gates, put in the black vinyl that looks like wrought iron, but keep it inside the existing hedge.
How tall is the fence going to be?
Your regulation says it can be no more than 42 inches, so it's going to be 42 inches.
So will it be below the hedge or above it?
Well, right now the hedge has gotten pretty tall.
Right here, I made mention of that. So
I'm sorry.
on your site plan here, I did make mention that the hedges need to be maintained. So,
Right.
I mean, they shouldn't be taller.
right.
Yeah, we took ownership January 4th, and I've not had an opportunity to get any landscaping going out there, the winter and snow and everything.
So you're still primarily going to see the hedges, not the fence.
Well, that was my plan, was that, you know, using the black wrought iron look, that it sort of disappears into the hedge. I'd like to fence the yard, but not highlight a fence.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that's a good strategy. It seems like you've been pretty thoughtful about this. I was thinking about how the actual wood picket fences are almost going out of style and people are doing a lot of the metal, but behind a hedge, it seems like a particularly good idea.
I agree.
I do too. There's a second fence involved in the project.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
that
here.
was my mistake. I put both fences on the application for your review, which I found out later was incorrect. That fence is just a board-on-board fence that I share with the neighbor on Center Street, and we're in the process of having that replaced. Actually, it's supposed to go in sometime this week. And it's
Ju-
just
You're replacing in kind?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine.
Well, I think the front fence is appropriate.
Yep.
I agree.
I move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion by King, seconded by Naylor. Childs,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Naylor.
Yes.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you very much. Sorry I couldn't see you in person.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome to Chagrin Falls.
Yeah.
Okay. 120 Edgewood Court.
Hello.
Morning.
Hello.
Morning.
Morning, Becky.
Oh, it doesn't have a historic report. I'm sorry. I was waiting on Steve to do your thing. So this is down in Northwoods. We're,
Becky, we're old enough.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We're doing a front porch and master bathroom expansion. And in doing that, we're gonna do a color upgrade, get rid of the brown, do sort of your white, gray, black palette as part of the process. So redoing the siding, the roofing, adding a front porch, and occupying a little bit of space over the garage.
Are those the adjacent houses in the bottom pictures?
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah, that's the one to the, yep, to the left and to the right.
So
And
I
as
was
you
looking at
know-
this. So you've got a rendering of it, but really the essence of it is that the front brick portion of the house is going to get painted. Then you were replacing the vinyl siding
With
on the
white,
balance of the house with white, and then you're adding that second floor
what's our
addition.
connection?
So you had what's the
Unstable.
material of that paneled area that you were showing? Is that like it's all boral, right?
Yes,
So there's a paneled area. Well, we're not seeing it yet, which you should probably scroll to that. And I guess my only comment was Northwoods is kind of a mix. I mean, they're high quality houses, high value houses that, you know, people have taken from vinyl to hardy or have done more slightly higher quality siding over time. So, I mean, that might be my recommendation here. And then I'm not positive those panels are quite working necessarily. I mean,
I don't really understand what the rationale is for them.
Yeah. Could you explain the panel idea?
Are there no windows in this?
I think she froze. Are you there, Becky? She's
Oh, she
froze.
did freeze.
Yeah.
Can you hear us? Hello? Oh, I see.
My
Oh,
guess
another
is
material
she's
question is the metal.
disconnecting and
the metal.
logging back on. If she doesn't come back on, I'll give her a call.
Yep. Yeah, so the middle's painted brick. The two wings are white vinyl, and then I think that paneled area is meant to be painted vinyl. But I guess that eave is above the second floor. I mean, that's a full height.
It almost reads as a very contemporary element. It almost reads as a set of ribbon windows. I mean, I know it's going to be painted, right? Solid, it
Yeah.
appears. But it's reading to me with the whole style that doesn't match with the rest of the house.
I agree, and I think that you really want to keep this break here. If you look at the original house, you have like a main mass, which looks pretty good. You have this entry portion, and this steps down, and I don't agree with how this roof continues like that. It just looks like it continues on, and then this facade here, it's just a blank wall with boards. I'd either do dormer. I'd keep the original piece set back and do dormers and break up the roof. And I'm not too fond of the color scheme. That would be my comments.
So
I missed everybody's comments. I'm sorry. I don't know that I want to hear them again, but go ahead.
go ahead, Bill. Why don't you?
Well, I think the original composition is pretty nicely done with, you have the main mass, which is this piece here. And it's nice how they broke this down and stepped it. So this becomes a secondary element. And so I would try to keep that. And
Can you go to the rendering, Harry, just for,
Yep.
I think it's kind of useful.
There's a rendering.
Where's your rendering? I got your photos. I was on your other page.
It's on the front sheet.
I saw it in our packet.
Oh, front page.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, yeah.
so this house, I mean, to me, looks like a pretty decent looking house, the way it is color-wise and massing and composition. Is there a way? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Dated,
Pardon me?
very dated coloration.
Uh-huh. And so I would try to put some dormers or break this up. I don't personally agree with the color scheme. I think this black, gray, and white is kind of trendy. You see a lot of it.
Especially if you keep the brown roof, which I guess we're not keeping the round roof with the black palette.
No, I don't know if you can see the picture to the right. I can't see it on my
Can you
screen.
pan
but-
over, Harry, and show us the, there we go.
Oh,
I've got a question. I've got a question about this. Oh, the roof for the porch is forward of that metal roof. It looks like it's almost a continuation, but it in fact pops forward from the, or no, is actually behind the roof of the garage. It's back of it. Because the garage roof hits it at the mid-height of the windows. So you're keeping those windows, so that your front porch roof has to be pushing back from that line, correct?
If you,
Yeah, if you took that existing roof to the left there on the brown, if you took that roof and carried it across,
It would be high.
it would be too high.
yeah, so that plane, the front plane of that is gonna step down. So the pitch wise, it's the same roof because we're pulling the exterior wall in plane with those double windows on the far left. So we're pulling that forward. And if you think it's better with vinyl siding, that's fine. I thought it might be nice to do something unique, but that's fine.
I don't think it fits with the architecture of the rest of the house. To me, it works. It would work better.
Sure. So
to
do
just
you want
slide
me to take the paneling off of the bay window too? We can just leave that a little vinyl wrapped.
no, that reads as a knee wall.
No, that
think
works. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I had just assumed they just painted what was already there. So, but I mean, the simplest thing for me, I don't care about these colors. People want to paint their house, paint their house. We're not supposed to be reviewing it anyway. And these colors are no more trendy than what they built originally. So,
Gary, would you move it to the left a little bit more? There, thank you.
The simplest option is just change that to siding and be done with it. It just,
I'm fine with that. I mean, if that's the, you know,
I was gonna say it'd be great to have a window facing front, centered between the two windows down below. But I actually think that roof may be higher than what you're showing. Well, first of all, I think the plane of that wall in your rendering is shown us as back from the brick. And I think that makes sense to me because I think the left side that has the bay is also back from the brick, right? So you got the
correct.
same roof, same wall plane. So you are popping the brick forward. So I mean, I think that works. And but I think you're going to have a limited amount of wall there, or if you were to put a forward-facing window, which would be nice, you're either going to have to cut it down into that roof, or you'd have to push it forward as a little bay, which you may not want to do in the master bath. But
yeah, I mean,
or even teeny high windows could animate that, like a couple teeny little windows that are up at the top of the wall.
well, except that the wall's not high there. Are you talking about in the where the paneling is?
Yeah,
Where the paneling is, the
It's 6'8"
eave is
at the
actually at
height of that.
Yeah, I mean, the eave's at like 7.5, 8 feet, but I think the
6'8".
low roof is gonna come up to like 5 feet.
No, the second floor windows are all at 6'8", so I can't get it
Kinda
up.
low.
Yeah, it's lower than both
But
of
you
us
could-
want it, right?
But you
But
could
I
match
am,
those windows.
I'm sorry.
You could match the windows on the left. I mean, it's the same eave.
Those little double,
Yeah,
little double
right,
hungs.
Right, whatever that is, right.
Exactly. I'd love to get rid of that, but it is already there.
I don't understand the 5 blank panels.
Let's say I do that in vinyl and
It's just siding.
right.
Flush siding?
No.
No,
black
just
siding.
regular siding,
Yeah.
regular siding like the whole rest of the house. Rather than yellow, it will be white,
And no windows or anything.
right?
Hey, Becky, what's that space going to be used for above the garage? What is it now? What's proposed
A bathroom and a closet,
above the garage?
Yeah.
correct?
Okay, so it's not a sleeping area.
No.
No.
There
And
are
we've
windows
got-
on that. We should look at the side elevations too. I mean, if there are windows facing the side.
Yeah, we have a window in the bathroom for sure, but
Nice one.
they don't want window in the closet, so.
I think I'm a little concerned that something's off, like George said, with the plane of that roof.
Oh, I get it. Wait, look at the side view, Phil. You've changed the slope of that entire roof plane, including over the garage. And that's what I
Down
didn't
low.
understand.
See, wait, oh, right there, 3A6.
Yeah.
See
It's
the dash?
lower now.
Oh, okay.
No, I was referring to the upper roof because if you look at the plan, the front wall of the garage of this new closet and bathroom is back from the front wall over whatever that is, the living room where the bay is. They don't line up.
They're within a few inches of each other.
Okay, I believe you. I mean, I think we should, I think this is fine. Just change the siding and let's be done with this. We keep beating these things up and it just.
But if there's a way.
Not significant
window
enough.
facing front, I think the window facing front would balance it. Now I'm seeing you do have more wall there. I mean, it'd be nice. Because you're actually, because you're lowering that roof, you're creating more wall.
I see what you're doing.
They just don't want, I mean, they want the privacy, so I'm trying to balance, filling that space up with, not having anything there. And I thought that was a good kind of dimension, I guess, to do that. I mean, they're in Northwoods. They don't really want everybody seeing in their closet or bathroom, but
Is that the closet?
whatever you guys think. I mean,
It's just so blank. I don't know what a window would look like.
well, it's roof now. So if you go back to that first elevation, I mean, tell me that the left is better than the right in terms of blankness.
No, I think the massing is better, and the roof line, you've broken up the roof line and added some detail across for the porch, and the only other optional change that I see, I mean, it's frankly, it's a shame you didn't draw it with siding on it, because I don't think we would have had all this discussion.
Duly noted.
Anyway, you guys keep discussing. I think we're beating a dead horse here.
If you can get them
Are
to
you
pop
ready
up
for a
the teeny
motion?
little windows in, it'd be nice, that's all. I mean, it's the front of the house.
Steve, are you ready for a motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
Motion to approve plans as presented, revising panels to be siding to match. Do we want to state with option to add window? Do you want me to add that or no?
Sure, give them the leeway.
Okay, there you go. That's the motion.
Thank you.
I second that motion.
Got the comments there, Joan?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, motion by Naylor, seconded by King. Naylor,
Yes.
Childs,
No,
King.
Yes.
Okay, passes 2-1.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I might be up next, so.
You are. How about that?
By the way, you have the most fantastic temporary sign I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's not yet,
You get to see that a little later.
unless you want to just
Oh, I'm sorry.
take it after
Yes.
that, but I suspect the other people might not want to
Yes. No,
wait for that.
we should stay the course. All right.
Is this?
63
oh, wait,
Center Street.
We have a historic.
Yes, we do. Prospectus has a report. They determined it does not meet the standards of historically significant property as defined in the ordinance. Therefore, they're determining that the proposed changes to 63 Center would not have an effect on the historically significance or that of the historical properties in the vicinity. This is one of those tweeners, I think. I move to receive the report.
Second.
no, I declined to receive the report.
All right, so we have a motion by King, seconded by Naylor. King,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
Childs,
No,
When you see the pictures, this house it does fit into the neighborhood, a very old neighborhood, even though it is not a very old house. Let's move forward.
all right, here we go. You want to
Yeah, sorry.
explain to us, Becky?
Yep, they're really doing an interior update as well as window replacement and the addition of a skylight. As you remember, the area over the garage was added, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And we're looking to replace the old windows. Originally, they had wanted to do like a 2/2, a much more modern, if you will, trendy window style that we're seeing, and encouraged them to keep sort of that more Dutch colonial look and just drop out the bottom grid. So they want more view. Stephanie's on here and can answer additional questions should you have them.
So you're proposing grids in the upper half
Correct,
of the windows and clear lower.
correct.
I disagree
And
with,
then the material of the windows is it aluminum clad to match? Or
Yeah.
wood?
It's going to be an aluminum clad. We're looking at the Pella Reserve, Bill.
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, good.
I think that upper, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but upper sashes when there's muttons is typically in Craftsman and Bungalow, and this is at Cape Cod. And it's such a wonderful, charming house with the muttons give it scale and character and charm. I'd hate to see them lose that by taking out the buttons in the bottom pane. So I'm surprised that the historic report said that. And that's my only comment.
Well, the historical report said it's not historic, so go for it, do what you want to do. I agree with your comments completely that the windows, it's a cute Cape Cod, and you just don't have that kind of window. You don't have 1/1, and you don't have essentially cottage style windows in a Cape Cod that's so charming.
You have them on the corners of the street, I think, in the historic report.
Not on this house, we don't. We
Yeah.
have it on other houses, yes. We do.
But a cape across the street, it was my only point.
I don't have a picture of that house in my head, so I can't comment on that. If
I
it
think
was a
that-
Cape, okay.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of them there, but
Yeah, well, I wouldn't like it on that house either. I don't think of that as a Cape Cod, but it's yeah. That's my comment. That's all.
Yeah,
The
we
vi- the
struggle,
vision.
I agree, we struggle with the historic significance of some of these houses. If I was doing this as a National Registered District, updating it, I would include this house because it's
Yes.
within 50 years. So I do not agree with the historic significance report. I would bring this in as a historic house. And I would, as the board is talking about, maintain the multi-pane windows at the top and bottom sashes. In a wood. We're talking about a wood reserve, Pella Reserve window, correct?
we're looking at that in Marvin's ultimate. Yeah.
Or, okay, but a wood window.
No, an aluminum clad wood window.
Oh,
Is that what you're?
okay.
Yeah, that's what was
With
installed.
simulated divided light.
Correct.
Yeah, so that'll look good.
That'll look wonderful.
Yeah.
Well,
Aesthetic-
so could I ask a question? Because if they go with the simulated divided light, I think asking to clean the 7 window panes is okay. If we go back to having all the grids, what if we do removable grills? Then you're getting,
That would
then
be a
you're-
shame. That would be a shame. That
which
would be-
one's worse, I guess, is what I'm curious. Is to have removable grills and have them in the top and the bottom, or to just have,
But the
Are
best
these-
is the multi-pane on both sides. It really is.
What are the windows now?
What do you mean?
What are the windows made of
They're-
now?
I think the ones on the new edition might be Lincoln
Are they
aluminum
snap-ins?
clad. And
Are they-
the
They're snap-ins or SDLs?
SELs. And the ones on the older house, I think are an early generation Pella.
I honestly, and I'm not being stylistically, I mean, I think some of the alterations that I did to this house, including the front entry and that middle bay and that addition over the garage, do make it a little less historic, probably. I think they came out well, but the clear bottom pane doesn't bother me aesthetically. I mean, stylistically, I'm hearing what you guys are saying, but I don't think it's a problem aesthetically.
How do you separate?
If you dial in on the picture, yeah. If you dial in on the pictures, I agree. This is like the poster card picture for Chagrin Falls. It's so charming. It actually probably makes Bill itch if you actually went and looked at it, because there's ornamentation all over it that's, inconsistent and a little bit out of scale if you're being overly critical. But
Do you think these are the existing windows from 63?
yeah, from
Okay.
60s.
So we have the configuration of how the windows were installed originally.
Yeah, they just had, the center, that center dormer was added
Mhm.
Was your standard 3 similar dormers on the front with no porch.
Mhm.
I think of this house as having historical significance and contributing to the neighborhood. You can even go so far as to say the village was run by the guy that lived there for about 40 years.
Who is that?
Isn't this Dave Griffith's old house?
No, he was next.
No, you're two down.
Two
Yeah.
down. Oh, excuse me.
Where's the skylight going?
On the rear.
Okay.
Oh, good question.
So up, go back to that other, pan, there you go, keep going. It'll be above that window on the far left there. You'd be pretty hard pressed to see.
Up
Yeah.
there?
Yeah,
Hmm.
from street level. And we're gonna fix the door. Actually, there's some window changes on that first floor if we want to look at those. I apologize that.
Are you changing that little box out window? With that funny double
Yeah.
case?
Yeah, and that door, I don't know where that door came from, George. I know we didn't do it. It's like a really bizarre door. But yeah, if you want to look at the new elevations. Harry on the elevation sheet, maybe.
Yep.
Having technology, grills are everything for so long. And the technology of divided lights is so wonderful, but putting grills, the money thing is there for sure, but putting grills on this house, I think it would be a shame. And having the grills and the vision, you must be sitting down if you're going to look out the lower half of these windows. People do sit down in this house, but the view of the lake isn't there. I think it'd be a shame to have the cottage style window on this house. It just doesn't fit this house.
So we can, should we go back to a removable grill for cleaning purposes, or are you saying?
Just wash
they
the
can-
windows, divided light windows, wash. the-
Simulated divided light wood
Yeah.
windows. This is a wonderful, well-built house, and
It's actually a hot mess on the inside, but I agree with you. It's got charm on the outside. I'm not arguing that for a minute. Even if it is, you know, a little quirky, when you look at it up close, it gets more and more quirky. It's like really charming at first glance. I don't necessarily agree. You know, if a homeowner wants to have no SDL, you know, no grills, and then, you know, wants to have 2/2, I feel like this is stretching to compromise, you know, because we're still keeping the scale, the pattern, you know, the overall look, and allowing them a little bit of flexibility in what they, you know, ultimately would want. I think what I'm hearing is, even though it's a 1963 house and the historic report is not giving it a lot of merit, you're saying it has to be done as if it was a 1920s house in this district.
well, whether it's 1920 or 1963 doesn't determine whether it's historically significant.
I know,
This
but the
house
50-year
isn't
thing is tough for me because, you know, like
Well-
1970s isn't, 1960s even, isn't our most beautiful architecture.
It's
But
not
that's,
about beautiful architecture. It's about architecture representing a moment in time in the village. And really, the board is the one who determines historic significance of the house. We use those reports as input, but really the board itself makes that determination, which I, as one vote on the board, see this as a historically significant house. And once it's in those parameters, I start to look at materials that closely replicate when you have existing materials and existing configuration on the house, and it is a simulated divided light window that's been installed, you want to replace as closely as you can to the original material. So I would vote to go with the simulated divided. You could go aluminum clad, but I would even suggest going wood. Are we ready for a motion?
I think we are. It almost sounded like one.
Stephanie, do you have anything you want to throw into the mix here? Sorry to put you on the spot, but if you know, you're hearing straight from the horse's mouth how they.
Yeah, we were just hopeful. We really enjoy the house, and we, you know, we're hopeful to kind of have, for us, we see sort of busyness with all the divisions, and, you know, even though we are on the corner of two streets, we really enjoy looking out and watching our kids and the kids in the neighborhood. And so just, it would be really enjoyable to have a clear panel and not always be looking through more and more bars. We generally have our windows completely open and enjoy the natural light and being part of the neighborhood here.
Well, the horse's mouth is thinking that it's a beautiful house, in a very traditional looking house. It does contribute to the neighborhood being a charming house. I wash the windows in my house, and you know, once a year, maybe twice a year. I don't consider that to be a factor. And you've been looking through your windows successfully for some time. I don't know how long. So
We've been here about a year. With the
okay.
kids
Well,
and such, we have to wash them a little more than once a year.
yeah.
Or twice or once a month, or, you know.
It's funny, I'm 3 feet from a divided light window looking in my backyard, and you really don't see the bars to any obstructional degree, I don't think. especially for what you're viewing in terms of the yard and the kids and all.
So if I could make one last interjection, would you be so kind as to approve this with grid work, as submitted with grid work in the lower sash, and allow my client to the opportunity to maybe just not improve the exterior of the home, only do what they see. They can choose whether to proceed with the improvements or leave it as is, I guess is my request.
You can definitely leave it as is.
Sure.
Not sure what your question is.
I'm asking if you would offer an approval with the grids in the bottom sash, if that's the only objectionable part of this submittal.
It is, I think the changes to the window configurations and the rear elevation are perfectly nice. New door, I mean, looks better than what is there. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing about the architectural changes I think that take this in a negative direction at all. I think it's all very nice.
The stumbling point seems to be the window grills. The configuration is fine. The reconfiguration is fine. And improvement, in fact.
Agree.
Yeah.
Is it possible to get a submittal stated as such?
What you're saying is the window replacement is optional, which I think is almost implied even in any approval. But yeah, I mean, maybe someone can just say, and window replacement is at the option of the owner.
Yeah, and I think maybe we're saying the same thing, but I'm asking for motion to approve with
Right.
grills added to the bottom sash of the windows, should the homeowner elect to do a full window replacement. Something to that effect.
Wait, something's happening here. I don't understand. Are you going to put snap-ins at the bottom?
No, SDLs. No,
Which- Okay.
I'm just asking, Wendy, for you to approve it with SDLs in the top and bottom sash.
So what I see here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7 windows, 8 windows and a door that are being added and replacing existing windows. And then the balance of the house is existing windows with an option to replace. So
Like kind, right.
we would be approving the new windows in the new location along the rear of the house, the skylight along the rear of the house, and the only thing that would be acceptable with respect to the replacement windows would be simulated divided light with 6/6 or 6/9,
9, yeah.
depending on where they're located.
Okay, I so move. Let's walk through that for Joan, though.
Want me to do it? I've been writing
Yeah,
it.
if
Okay.
you're
I'll give it a shot and then I'll give it a shot and then you edit.
Yeah.
We move that this is a historically significant house and to approve plans as presented with simulated divided light, aluminum clad or wood windows at upper and lower sash to mimic historic existing windows at, do we want to specify location?
63 Center Street. I mean,
No, but I meant location on the building.
oh, I think the whole house is
Okay,
fine.
then
Yeah.
period. That's the motion.
Well, actually, thank you. That's my motion. Would somebody second it?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's Steve's motion and I second.
It's Phil to Steve to Wendy is what it is.
Okay.
Okay, we got that.
So we got everything, Joan?
Yep, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Motion by King, seconded by Naylor. Childs,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Okay, it's approved. Thank you.
Okay, where are we?
South Main.
Yes, we are.
Hmm. Mhm.
Oh, man, I lost myself. 122 South Main. HSR. Always a pleasure. 122 South Main, according to prospectus, does meet the standards of historical significance. It's more than 100 years old, and all the other factors. The proposed vinyl siding and the appearance for South Main would have an adverse effect on that building and those of significance in the area. Vinyl siding is an inappropriate solution to replace siding in a historically significant structure. This is based on National Park Service. As stated, the new feature shall match the old in design, color, texture, and visual qualities, and so forth. I move to receive the report.
Second.
Motion by King, second by Naylor to accept the HSR. King,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
Childs.
Yes.
Okay.
Is,
Good morning.
good morning. What, Todd, could you just state your name and what your position is? Are you the homeowner?
Yes, Todd Ciano, both the homeowner and the contractor for this project.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, and could you spell it for me, please?
Sure, it's Todd Ciano, Sciano, and both the owner and the contractor for this work scope.
Mhm.
So we recently purchased the property from Jeff Gibbs. Their family lives down the street a little bit from this location. They had it as a rental for the last 12 or 13 years. You know, great house. It's got a lot of character, great interior, but you know, the outside needs some updating. So I came to the board to discuss the vinyl as an option in lieu of painting it as it stands today. And that's kind of the presentation I put in front of the board right now. I just got the historical report this morning, so I apologize. I've been trying to comb through it. So, you know, I presented kind of some existing pictures of the areas that I see that have flaws in the existing siding, but you know, without getting too far into it, I understand the position of the board and the review of the report. So I try to pick a siding color and panel design that I thought would fit. My intention was to recase the windows in wood, and the windows themselves are not being replaced. So I thought it was a balance between trying to preserve the structure, but also maintain its integrity. And that's kind of what I'm in front of you guys today to talk about.
Oh, that's great. I did go over and take a look at the house. I think reinforcing I hadn't seen the historic report either. But the two houses on either side are all wood siding and, you know, historic houses, I believe, in their own right. I do think I was convinced that the siding needs to be replaced, not repaired, likely, because it's in very bad shape. But I do think replacing it with hardy siding at the same overlap, or wood, preferably wood. But hardy would be an acceptable alternative to that, which is a little more budget friendly. And then, yeah, I agree with you, replacing the trim at the same dimensional, same dimensions, same details as needed with wood trim. That's a great approach. That's something we recommend. I would say your subsills, which we still want to be the thick subsills, like the 2-inch subsills that are shown there, you might consider actually using Boral or AZEK for those. AZEK's got a great historic subsill spec all the time, just because that's the one thing that won't hold up in your wood trim over time. But I think heading in the direction of a hardy or solid wood material is the way to go for the siding. So it sounds like you're already kind of thinking that through.
Yeah, I mean, some of the areas are patch and match are still an option for a paint. But if we're going to do a replacement, it's one of those things you start touching something and it continues to creep. If we do, I guess is it now? I'm obviously hearing your opinion, and I guess is that the position of the board that option of the vinyl is not a viable option based upon the report as a whole. And
I think that's a reasonable assumption that the vinyl is not on the table. I walked around it, and I guess, George, it's a tough call unless you start to. I didn't want to drive nails into the wood to test it on his house, but I thought it was a patch job, a wood.
Oh, potentially it could be. Well, that's certainly up to the homeowner. Yeah, I guess I just saw some areas and I was like, wow,
certain areas.
It actually is really. I didn't walk around the entire house though. So I mean,
Well, I lived two doors down, 3 doors down years ago, and been watching the house. I know the Gibbses, and well, that picture I'm looking at now. Oops, that's You're talking about replacing. Looks like the siding between the corner and the deck. Okay,
right.
So let's replace that with cedar redwood type of stuff. And off you go. Getting into the windows and so forth. I don't think much of the window trim is original. I think it was replaced by good old fashioned white pine, and that's why we're back where we are. I guess I look at it as a heavy-handed repair of the wood siding and a first-class paint job, whether or not you remove the paint to do it. Certainly don't sandblast, but I think it's a repair and replace.
I agree. And it follows what is encouraged in the code as well, to repair deteriorated materials before we go to replacement. And I agree with everything Steve said.
I agree too.
You need a really good carpenter and an even better painter.
Yeah, that's right. No, and that is one of the options that we've had on the table even before we came to you. Just try to balance, balance the repair work versus its longevity post repair, and I think that's kind of where I was at, and that's why we even bothered submitting vinyl as an option. Under the paint option, am I able to use an alternate material for casing replacement, or do you want that all to remain wood also?
I think using AZEK Boral there would be fine. By the way, I appreciate your approach to this. You know what you have. It's the cutest damn house. And it will be again. And you seem to be the guy with the knowledge to go ahead and do it. And I appreciate your attitude. Thank you.
I shared it with Harry, but you know, I'm a civil by background, so I'm familiar with the boards and planning and zoning. So I think we, you know, I knew what we were getting into when we purchased it from the Gibbs family. So I think it was worth a discussion, at least to understand where the board sat, and we're just trying to weigh the options out. But I think I have a clear path.
I want to step in and kind of make a correction. I do not believe that AZAC on this house, with the possible exception of the window stool, but I'm not even certain about that, is a good choice for you. I think if you're going to replace trim, you should look into Boral. It's a much more stable material. AZAC is wonderful in certain situations, but it's limited in its ability to. It's vinyl. It's not stable from the standpoint of expansion and contraction. Boral is much closer, and so vinyl siding is built so that it can move in a 20-foot length up to an inch. And when you put AZAC in a situation like this, it's going to move as well. Boral, because of its density, is a much better option for you. So cement siding, Boral siding, we've gone a long way with synthetic materials that duplicate the wood that we can't replace anymore. So other than that, everything else that's been said I'm in agreement with.
All right. I stand corrected. Thank you, Phil. I've learned something there.
Want to table this, or do you want a formal motion?
I think isn't it the correct approach for me to withdraw, I guess, at this point?
Well, I'll tell you, to do repairs, you don't need us at all.
Right. I think that's the right approach. I mean, based upon, I apologize. I just was trying to comb through the report this morning. So
no, you're fine. Harry, do you have comments on what we're talking about here? I mean, repairs don't need us as long as you adhere to what we've said.
Correct. As long as the repairs are, like for like, we can deal with that administratively with a minor building permit, and don't really need the ABR's approval unless you're making a materials change.
I just want to add in, Todd, that I do think your role in bringing this house back to be a well-maintained historic structure is vital for our village. So thanks for stepping in on that.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's hope by the end of summer we're pleased with its result. Does the board have any or do I need any approval to change colors? That doesn't apply, right?
No.
All right. Okay. All right. I think I have my marching orders. I guess I would ask to then withdraw the application based upon our discussion, and you guys can get onto this long list you have for today.
All righty. Thank you for your consideration.
Yeah. All right. Have a great day, guys.
Good luck.
Thank
you.
Right.
With your location, we'll be keeping an eye on it. Everybody in town will be.
I didn't
wave it to you when we walk by. Yeah.
Okay,
sorry.
I have a question. Do you want me to just write, after much discussion, the applicant decided to withdraw his application? Is that, or do you want me to just?
I think that's fine. I think
yeah.
Okay.
I'd rather get.
I'm sorry, what?
I think he froze. Okay.
He's good though.
Very good.
Okay,
All right.
that's what I'll write.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Well done. 36 South.
Hi, Ben.
Franklin.
Hey, George.
Uh, 36 South Franklin. Okay.
Should I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Yeah, good morning. This is Ben Brigman. I'm the owner of the Monty Brigman Wealth Management Group, and we took occupancy of 36 South Franklin about a month ago. We replaced the folks from Flashes of Hope that merged with another organization. So we are looking to put this sign that you see up, the MB Wealth Management Group. It's the exact same size and dimensions of the previous Flashes of Hope sign that was there on an existing post. And so we're just looking for approval for the sign.
What's the material?
I believe it's a vinyl composite of some sort.
Yeah, it's HDU routed. It's composite.
It looks like there's two options for the font.
We went with the top one, the one above.
I like that better too. I think it looks great. I mean, in this Photoshop. In fact, I was wondering if you had already had it up.
We did. Until I realized that till Harry corrected us and said we didn't have approval, which I didn't know we did.
No, I really like the
Have a really good mock-up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, really good mock-up.
No, it's
Very good.
It looks
All right.
great.
I move to approve as presented.
A second.
Okay, motion by Naylor, second by Childs. King,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
Childs.
Yes.
Okay, signs approved. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Don't we usually approve every other sign?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, she's
Coming
laughing.
soon.
That's good. Yeah.
Are you going to replace the coming soon sign with like a real one? Or just leave it?
Yeah, so
Or you're just gonna always be, yeah.
I think they discover the coming soon and go with it. Yeah.
exactly. No, we're getting rid of the coming soon. I need something temporarily until, we have a proper sign, and
Well,
thought that this was, it actually is the same dimension as the old nanny sign. So that gives some feedback on why it's the size it is. And, I think it's,
So I don't understand. What's the application for?
well, I understand we have to have an application for a temporary sign.
Oh, okay.
Harry, is that?
If you want to keep it in that location, you need to get approval. Like I say, temporary signs should be inside the building. So I take it you're just going to take the coming soon off, and that's what the sign's going to look like.
Great.
well, wait a minute now. Are we trying to approve her sign or just approve her temporary sign?
Well,
Because
that's up to the applicant.
after 100 years, somebody finally sought permission for a temporary sign. Everybody else just puts them out there.
Is it metal? It's a metal sign, right?
No,
is
it's a
Corrugated plastic.
Plastic sign.
no,
Sign.
yeah.
Well, I
Blows
move
in
to
the
approve
wind.
the temporary sign. How about that?
I
Second.
second it. Yep.
Let's just do that. Yeah, second.
Okay.
So so I can keep the sign until I get my new sign.
What's going to change on your new sign?
Well, it definitely won't say coming soon.
So that's just going to go away, right?
Right.
Is the
Harry's
design
trying to
different?
get you to approve your final sign is what he's.
Well, I'd be delighted if we could do that and save me, coming back for my new sign, but
Are
Is
you
the design
adding
the
any
same?
verbiage to the new sign?
this is, yeah, my bird Pantuso architecture and the phone number will be the content of the sign.
And it'll be the same size or smaller?
Yeah, I'd like to have it not too much smaller just because that's higher up, but yeah. I
Looks
don't
like
want
you
to,
could,
so it's balancing, the letters and the blank space. I don't want to fill up the whole sign with letters.
Mm-hmm.
So if
It's like you
you,
could take 10 inches off the sign and you got it. Take
yeah,
the top 10 inches off of that sign.
done. Can we get a final approval for that? And
I so move.
how soon
the-
do I?
What would the material be?
Um, I don't know, HPD. It's a Tim Duran, high density,
Plastic.
poly something, yeah.
Okay. I move to approve the temporary sign and also the final sign made out of poly something.
Second.
I love the color.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks.
I love the bird.
I like the bird
Thanks.
too.
Okay. Motion by King, second by Naylor. Childs,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Approved. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, this is just
South
a field,
Franklin.
this is a field change to plans you approved last year, it's addition of a chimney.
Good morning. Shall I start?
Please.
Okay. I'm Brenda Anthony with William H. Childs Jr. and Associates Architects. I'm representing the Bauer family in their request to add a new fireplace and chimney to their existing residence. As Harry mentioned, if you recall, this was a previously approved, this is a field change to a previously approved project that was approved, I believe, in February of last year. If you recall, it was two detached structures, a detached garage and a potting shed, two accessory structures, and a Italianate garden was the approved project. The family has since decided that they would like to add a fireplace to their family room. It's a room in the house they spend a great deal of time and would enjoy a fireplace in that location.
And there used to be a garage door into the back of that garage.
Correct. So part of the previous approval from last year, one of the accessory structures is a detached garage, and this previous approval included removal of that back garage door. The existing garage has overhead doors on both the front and the back, like a drive-through style. Well, part of that landscape project is removing all of that driveway that meanders back from the street behind, I think is that Walnut Street, all the way to that back door, removing that overhead garage door and replacing with a man door. That was approved last year. On this field change, we're requesting to add a chimney to that same location. So it would be, the chimney would be replacing that center window you see of those three windows on the I guess you call it the second floor. It's lower than the proper second floor of the main house. It's like a 1.5 story, I guess. But on the second level there, we would be removing that center window, and that's where the fireplace would be going.
Could we go back to the fireplace elevation, Harry?
Yep.
I think that's really helpful.
So yeah, the first sheet that has the elevations, that one, it shows you some good overall where you can see all three elevations. And then the next sheet has enlarged ones, but I think this one is a good place to start so that you can see. And you see it's on the rear side, which is the west facing.
So I think this is a very nice addition to the, architecture of that addition to this nice house. I mean, it's kind of nice because it's not touching the historic part of the house either. I mean, there was really no historic issue with it at all. It's funny, when I looked at the two, I like the two inset arches into that. If you go back down to that, and I don't know if you can zoom in on it a little or go to the
Yeah,
enlarged.
the next page has an enlarged elevation, so it might be, there you go.
Right. The only thought I had, and I'm nitpicking, you'd build it just like this, look very nice, was that lower arch seems pushed a little tight to the haunches of the
Okay.
fireplace. And then the upper one seems like it's smaller than the lower one, but it could be even narrower yet, just a little. I mean, that's just my comment for consideration, because I think this is going to be great.
Thank you. Yes, we wanted to include those details, but aren't having them be as ornate as what's on the original house. If I'm sure you know, this family room portion here is an addition. It's not part of the historic home.
Right.
And it's subordinate, and we wanted to keep this chimney mass taking cues from the Italianate architecture of the existing home, but still remaining subordinate. So it's not as ornate as the chimneys on the main house. But the Italianate obviously has the tall, slender look. So I could definitely look at making that upper one tall and slender. I think maybe why I had it that way is because I wanted to align, we wanted to show the recesses on all four sides. And I wanted to align the side recesses with that one. But the way it hits the roof, if you zoom out a little bit and see the side elevation, you just have to, zoom out a little, and it's up a little bit.
Seems like the side elevations are smaller anyway.
Yes,
Yeah.
now that I'm looking
Yeah,
at it. I
actually,
see
they
that you're
look
right.
more comfortable, right?
Mhm.
They look
Yeah.
comfortable.
I think it looks really nice as drawn.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Very nice. Obviously, matching brick and mortar is a top priority for you.
Yes, the existing home, the addition, you can go back to the photo of the addition, actually has two different types of brick. There's one type of brick on the lower portion.
Oh.
Yeah, if you can go back to the west elevation where that one. And if you zoom in a little, you may be able to tell that there's a different brick on the lower half under that stone sill than in the upper
Okay.
half. And
I'll look at that. Okay.
we actually
It's
looked at brick.
oversized.
Yeah, we actually looked at brick samples, and we want to match the upper half. But we are going to try to get a custom blend that can match as seamlessly as possible. What we have out there right now from Bruder is close, but it doesn't quite have the variation that we were looking for. So we're definitely going to keep working on that to make sure it's as close of a match as possible.
Well,
So has any of the work on this, has that garage door already been removed, or?
No, I don't believe so. I think they've just mobilized because after the winter, they had, although this was approved last year, they did not move forward on the construction, I think probably because of COVID. And they have mobilized recently. I believe they've done demolition in the back, maybe removed some of the trees already that were approved to be removed, and maybe a little excavation for, it's a significant landscape project in the back. So I think that's where they've started, but they're ready to begin work on this as soon as next week, I think, pending approval.
I move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion by King, seconded by Naylor. Naylor,
Yes.
Childs,
Staying.
King.
Yes.
Okay.
Very
Brenda,
nice.
it's approved. Thank you.
Really nice.
Thank
I
you
can't
very
wait
much.
to see that get going. Yeah.
Thank you.
39 Stand Ridge Road.
mhm.
I'm working to bring those folks in. Jody Haas, I saw your hand raised. I promoted you to a panelist as well. So you can unmute and start your camera also.
Okay, thank you. It's really Henry Piper.
Yeah, that's the neighbor across the street.
Okay, thank you.
It's Chuck Fazio, right?
Yes.
Morning.
Morning.
Oh, there you are.
Are we ready or should I just still wait?
Go
Nope,
ahead.
we're all set.
Okay, these are the final plans for Stan Ridge Home for the Grisco family. Jerry and Rose, I think they may be on the line too. Are you guys on? I don't know, they may not be, but they were,
They are in attendance. I will move them over to have the ability to join the meeting.
yeah, that would be great because I think they would like to be here. You guys all saw this on a preliminary basis. We did a few tweaks here or there, but it's virtually the same home that you saw several months ago. We tweaked in some dormers and things like that, changed some floor plans around, but basically the same thing. It's basically a colonial revival style with some Western Reserve details on it. The consists of mainly natural stones, real stone with hardy board siding and shutters. It's going to be an asphalt shingled roof. The chimneys will all be out of stone to match the rest of the house. And I have I don't know if you have in front of you the sketches that we did of the home. There's a three-dimensional sketch of that, but I don't think we actually turn those in again. But if you don't have those, I could show you from my screen.
You could do a screen share if you'd like.
I can just do this. I don't know if this is even, if you're even going to see this or not.
No.
You not see that?
Yeah. Now that's a screen share.
Yeah, there's a screen share. So, I have those sketches. I didn't know if you had those from the previous meeting or not, but
No.
anyways, so we're tearing down the existing house that's there. We're going to, there's a very small, simple home that will be destroyed. We've got permission to do that once we get approval for the drawings here. The bays are all copper. All the windows will have grids on all the windows and doors. Shutters will be probably dark green or black. I don't know that we've made that decision yet. But,
Are the grids, is it SDL windows?
yes. Yeah, they're all SDL.
They're so big. I think they almost have to be.
Yeah. No, I like it.
Take forever to wash those windows.
Well, that's part of my fee. I do that every month, like that other lady said.
Yeah.
So, any questions?
I think this is a very, very attractive home. I mean, it's stylistically a little bit of a departure on that street, but the street's kind of eclectic. And the only comment I have, honestly, is just the family room back arch window opening is so big and wide. It kind of almost eliminates the wall of stone. I mean, it's facing the rear. I just feel like that poor little circular window above it is so small and it's so big. It's the only thing that maybe the haunches of it, you know, the side stone is feels like a little attenuated in that. But it's obviously that would be very dramatic from inside the room. And I think that little round windows above
That round window won't be in the room. So
I looked at this section, it's above the ceiling, I understand. It just looks small. But I think it's really a beautiful house.
yeah, I think it's the rendering with when you're seeing all the stone, you know, that's going to soften, you know, once you see, you know, the keystones that are put in there, I think it'll be nice. But it could go a little bigger. I don't think that's a problem.
I think it's a great composition, massing wise, detailing. I think it's refreshing to see a composition like this, and I'd move to approve.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Chuck, I just want to let you know, I'm still waiting on comments back from the village engineer and grade plan.
Okay.
I do recall back in February, the neighbor across the street did have some concerns about drainage. And I've asked our engineer to review that. He was concerned about water cascading across Stan Ridge and stuff.
Right. Yeah. We did share that with our engineer, and he knows. I think he's taking care of that.
Okay. So I'm just waiting on his comments to come back.
Sure.
So just so you know.
Okay.
And then can we go to the site plan? I can't remember what the driveway looked like before, but Chuck, it looks
Well,
like.
we had more driveway than we have in the new plan because of the 25%.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Gotcha.
So they reviewed.
we're
looks
hoping if
reasonable.
we may consider trying to get a little more variance so we could get them to get closer to the front door. This is such an odd shaped lot, it makes it really difficult to work with. So we may be coming back to possibly reevaluate how that is, but so.
That certainly doesn't look like a problem there. I mean,
Right. No, this is not a problem. No, but
right.
Trying to get
you are far from the front door.
Right. Yeah, that's a heck of a walk, and so we are going to address that.
Not for a house that size, it isn't.
Whose fault is that?
I would second the motion.
Okay. I think there's a neighbor on the line. I don't know if they have any comments.
Yes.
Yes, we have comments.
All right, speak.
Can you hear me?
Go
Yes,
ahead.
we can.
Henry.
Please go
Henry,
ahead.
just state your name for the record, please.
Henry Piper across the street at 20 Stanbridge. Are the Lewises on the call here? The neighbor to the west, 45 Stanbridge?
No, they're not.
Lewises? No?
No.
Okay, fine. I reviewed the site plan. My initial comment early on was that the whole thing is simply too big. That hasn't changed. I've studied Joe Katowski's site plan, and there was a notation on his plan that says they couldn't see certain things because there was snow in the yard. So apparently they tried their field work in February and there was snow. There is a 8-inch diameter steel culvert going under the existing concrete driveway, which is in the position of the new driveway or proposed driveway. There is no notation on Joe's drawings because he probably never saw it because it was covered in snow. There is a ditch there, and what I would like the village engineer to add to this is for at the end of the struggle, I'd like the ditch that flows to the east on the southerly side of the street to be maintained. I think you need a culvert under the proposed driveway, more or less like the culvert under the existing concrete driveway, which are in more or less the same position, because the westerly flowing water from the Lewis's yard is trapped on the, I'm going to call it the easterly side of the proposed driveway. And so that's my one comment on the civil engineering side. I see the 6-car parking lot is draining into a front detention basin, and that's very nice. And Joe did a wonderful job detailing that. My only thoughts on that is who inspects these very complex and nuanced structures to indicate or prove that there is compliance with Joe's intent? Is that the village engineer, or is Harry step up to that challenge?
No, that would be the village engineer in the final.
Okay, good.
Because they will have to give us an as-built as well, Henry, so.
They will? Okay,
Yes.
well, again, if they can add the idea of restoring the ditch, that wasn't done. There was no note when the Lewises reconstructed the house there. there was no culvert note, there was no ditch restoring note, and so the ditch didn't get restored. And since that's an uphill property, and they imported fill to make the grade, the water just overflows the street and comes into my yard, which is fine, and I'm living with
Yeah,
that. But
like I said earlier, I've talked to the engineer about your concerns. He's addressing those, so.
okay, outstanding. Let's see, one other issue, and this is not my issue, it's really the Lewis's issue. And I haven't talked to Gigi or Dave about this, and I just throw this out there for your consideration. The master suite on the western side of the extreme western side of the home is 10.5 feet from the property line. There are dimensions given for an ultra deep basement of 12 feet plus a 1 foot footing, and an excavation of that depth, in my humble opinion, and it's just my humble opinion, will, by the time you put the safety cut, the 2 foot over dig, which is standard, and then a safety cut back to keep the workers from being buried alive in this thing, I think Lewis's yard will in fact fall into the excavation. Again, I don't care if Lewis's yard falls into the excavation. They should, and I haven't mentioned this to them. But again, I don't want to tell the architect how to do his job. But if you're going to have an ultra deep basement, it would seem to me that you should move it to the center of the house where that playroom is called out on the basement plan, and actually, rather than making the ultra deep basement at the property line, I would make it shallower, a 9 or 10 foot basement rather than the 12 foot that's proposed. That's I don't care what they do over there. I don't think they're going to put sheet piling in like this is a high rise situation to keep the bank from cascading in there. But that's simply my comment. Thank you.
I think one thing I noticed in this is that in this zoning, there's supposed to be 24 feet of combined setback, so 14 and 10. But the 14-foot setback is shown on that little strip that doesn't come into play. And then really the house is 10 feet from the property line on each side. And we're not considering a rear setback here because the rear is considered to be, it's a strange lot, right? I mean, you're just trying to figure out what's what on this lot. The rear is considered to be way off to the whatever direction off the sheet. And so, if the 1410 really was brought into play here, I think this house is benefiting from not having a rear setback functionally. Yeah, the 14 ought to be by the Lewis's, or and I think that actually would be an improvement. Although, I mean, I'm not proposing that. I don't think this house should come forward towards the street, and I don't think anyone would want that, because I do think it's kind of nice that it kind of the front line of the house and the front line of the Lewis's seem to be in a nice relationship at the moment.
I would point out, George, that the architect's site plan, the footprint of the building that's shown as the Lewis's house bears no resemblance to the Lewis's house. Okay, it simply is not accurate at all. If you look at Katowski's site plan,
Right.
It shows it more as a rectangle, which is what it actually is. But he didn't. The site engineer didn't draw the whole footprint of the Lewis's house. You just see the end of it. So,
Oh, well, that's good though. So that's really where it is.
yes,
Because that's probably
Katowski's
the
plan
old
is
house.
correct. The architect's site plan is incorrect.
That's probably the house that was torn down to make the Lewis's house.
No, I don't think it is. I don't know what that is.
So wait,
there was a ranch there.
Going
with a
back to
front road.
Katowski's plan, that you're saying that's the end. That makes sense. I mean, I was just looking at the Lewis's house it's a simpler shape than the shape shown in that drawing.
Yeah,
Yes.
correct.
Aren't there rules governing safety and so forth in terms of an excavation? And if this is a gravel pit, we have an issue. If it's Ohio clay, in my limited knowledge, is it a real threat to have this super deep basement, or is this something that's addressed by an engineer or OSHA or whoever?
The means and methods.
Pardon?
It's a means and methods. Contractor's responsible for maintaining and the safety of his site and the safety of his crew and the safety of the neighboring properties.
Okay.
So,
But a 12-foot hole in Ohio clay, is that truly a threat?
It may not be Ohio clay, it could be
We don't-
sandy.
yeah.
Well, I
Sandy, it's a
agree.
problem, yeah.
could be shale. There's no way of knowing.
Yeah, we did,
Site
we did borings. There's not shale.
Okay.
You know, I just have one comment. As a board, we're here to review the architecture. I have no qualifications on engineering and civil, so I can't really make all these comments or review that from an engineering standpoint and from a constructability with the neighbors and stuff. So personally, I think it's really about the architecture. And I think it's an excellent composition, and that's what we're here to.
I agree. I agree. I would say this, Harry, would you, more than your usual, which is very adequate, would you make sure that Mr. Piper is aware of the thoughts of the engineer, and if a discussion needs to take place?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Already been noted with the engineer.
Okay. I call the question.
I move to approve the plans as presented.
I second it.
I think Bill did it already.
Oh, did
Yeah.
Bill do it? Oh,
Yeah.
pardon me. I second Bill. Okay.
I think I seconded it
Oh,
already.
did you?
All right.
I have been here. Pardon me.
Let's go.
All right.
So motion by Naylor, seconded by
No,
Child?
motion by Bill. Motion by Child, seconded by King.
Okay, so motion by Childs, seconded by King for final approval for 39 Stand Ridge new dwelling. Childs,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Naylor.
Yes.
And I will say once again, I will talk to the engineer. I have already spoken to the engineer about the drainage and grading issues that Mr. Piper has brought up.
Very good.
Great, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Now, Harry, as I understand it, the demolition was.
We approved that. You approved it last year.
Yes.
Pending final approval of the new
Right.
dwelling. So
Okay.
now they can go ahead and start their demolition.
Very good. That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Harry, this is Christy. It looks like we have Don Simpson next. Is that correct?
Yeah, that would be for 77 Maple Street. That's our last one.
Right.
Okay. I don't see anyone in attendance with that name, so I will ask those that are in attendance, if you're representing this project at 77 Maple Street, please raise your hand in the Zoom platform so I can identify you. Harry, I don't see anyone in attendance to represent this project.
Okay, we'll leave it up to the board whether they want to approve it or move it to the next meeting. It's just that it's a fence in the backyard.
Yeah. What, do we know what a fence looks like?
I
Is
can
it a
show you a
42
rendering
inch
of it.
lower fence?
Yeah, it's just a-
Yeah, it's another ornamental metal.
I guess the new owner has a dog. They're just trying to contain the dog in the backyard from what I understand.
You go back up, Harry.
Yes.
So that's the curved fence.
Right. If you recall, last year they built a detached garage that was under a different application. And that's the garage back here, and the red line signifies where this curved fence is going to go. There's an existing stockade fence between this property and the adjacent neighbor's property, but the fence isn't going over there.
Oh, the snow plower is gonna love that fence.
I was just gonna say the same thing. It'd be better if they put it behind the, those looks like small arborvitae, so there's a little wiggle room for the,
Yeah,
you're
right,
backing out of the car and you might hit the fence.
right. Yeah, snow removal and I think we should talk to these people next time.
Okay,
Yeah,
I will put it on your agenda for the next meeting.
very good. Thank you.
Yep. Do we have any walk-ins, Christie? I see that there is some mention about a potential walk-in. Christie? Christie, are you there?
Going.
Yes,
John,
okay. Harry, you said there was talk of it, or?
She on the bottom of the agenda here, a potential buyer for 51 West Cottage Street. I'm not sure what it's about.
Potential buyer, so they wanted to get our thoughts on something.
Maybe
Correct.
they can get that input from Harry. So, because they probably haven't even made an offer on a property.
Yeah.
that,
Okay.
They don't own.
That being said, if there are any objections, let's adjourn the meeting.
I have one comment or just a question for my fellow board members and advisors. When it comes to color to a home, I know I think if I'm correct, we do not judge color. So does that mean that if someone comes in and wants to paint their house hot pink or purple or black in the village, we have no say they can do that, correct?
It happened.
It
They don't-
happened.
they don't need
Yes,
to come
lane
in.
yellow.
We have an orange and we have 2 purples.
Well, but we turned down a vinyl siding and the gentleman
Yeah, what?
was aggravated and he painted his house
Okay. because
electric yellow
Okay. good
in
to
your
know.
face.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Got
right,
it.
thanks. Bye.
All right.
By the way, hey, Harry, your comment about we don't select roof material. I guess I'm puzzled by that.
Yeah, we don't regulate roofing, Steve. And so that goes for metal roofs and asphalt shingles. I mean,
Well, where do you see
you
that? 'Cause
sure?
I was looking for it. I didn't come up with.
I think roofing is a permanent portion, just like masonry and everything else. Like, is there a
It's-
specific
as
exclusion?
long
of
as
it?
I've been doing this job, I've been told that we don't regulate roofing. We don't make the roofing contractors register with us, and we don't require them to pull permits.
So what you're saying is someone can go and put a metal roof on their house and we really don't even.
We don't have a say-so in it right now.
Well, I was looking for it and I can't find it. So I guess I'm questioning the little bird that chirped in your ear because I don't see it in the code. That's a Dale question or,
We could address it with Dale. I could bring it up to the administrator and he can talk to Dale about it.
We definitely, we know that there's no, I think there's a comment about colors, regulation of colors.
Well, there's a whole section in the design guidelines on roof elements.
Yeah, but the design
roofing-
guidelines aren't codified. It's only recommendations.
Yeah, but they're supposed to be derivative of the ordinance because Secretary of Interior standards look at roofs as character defining features of the building. So we need some
So we're
clarification.
getting into the weeds. I'll ask the administrator to talk to Dale. and
Okay,
get-
thank you.
okay, and the code says we cannot select paint. It doesn't really say color, like brick has a color and so forth. It says we can't select paint. That's all it
So
says.
in other words, permanent materials that have a characteristic color could come under consideration.
Yeah,
Right,
Kind of makes sense because someone can paint their house a bad color and someone else can come back and paint it a better color.
yeah.
Right.
that's
yeah.
right.
And just to point out to Dale, it's page 37 of the design guidelines here. It says if roof replacement's necessary, use new material that's compatible in size, shape, color, pattern, texture.
What's compatible today?
Well,
Pardon me?
that would be for us to figure out.
That's
What is
That's what
compatible today, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
what we do, is
That's what
determine
we do.
compatible. Contemporary compatible is a whole concept in historic design review. But we
Okay.
need some input from Dale because the Secretary of Interior standards are, there's different, they're doing a different interpretation on our ordinance, so.
So if someone's replacing asphalt with asphalt, that's one thing, but if they're replacing asphalt with metal or metal with asphalt or changing the type of roofing completely, that seems like that would come under our purview, right?
Right, and we're headed towards roofing material that is solar panels that look like shingles. I mean, it's a changing thing.
I will bring it to Dale's attention or the administrator's attention and we'll go from there. It's been a concern of mine. I mean, with people wanting to put metal roofs on, but I've been told that we don't regulate roofing, so that's the way it's been, so.
Well, who said that?
Well,
Previous administrator. I came from the previous.
Mr. Hines.
All right. Well,
Yes,
Blame it on
I
Dan.
answer to the administrator, so.
okay.
Thanks. Well, that's helpful, Harry, to clarify that.
Right.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
An issue.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. Steve, just a reminder, if you could send me that email now so I can get the minutes adjusted to Harry, so they.
Yeah, what's your address again, John?
It's joan@chagrin-falls.org.
Chagrin-falls.org. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
I'm on it. All right, very good. All right. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Have a good
Bye.
day, everybody.
Bye.
19.
In a few weeks.